gorgeous, and a very happy Frugal Friday to you. In today's video, I am trying a full face of drugstore makeup that you hated, but now you love it. And when I ran a poll on Instagram very recently, I asked what the #1 reason was of why you disliked a makeup product, and these were the results. A majority of you said it was a bad formula. 59% bad formula, and I could definitely see that. So let's try these out. We'll see how they perform, and I'll show you everything up close. You can see it for yourself. First product comes from Tammy Herrera. She had mentioned the L'Oreal Secret Studio Magic Perfecting Base Primer. She says she couldn't stand it, but what made the difference was applying less. She felt like she had been applying too much, and that's why it was creating issues on her face. I can relate. I do that a lot, especially with concealer. There's some concealers I go back to and I think, oh, I really hated this, but then I use it again and I apply much less, and then it's much better. And this looks beautiful. I've never used this, if you can believe it. And look at what it's already done to this side of my face. I'm gonna wipe this off so you can see the difference. Look at this. It smoothed everything. It made my pores disappear. It is gorgeous. But I could see how you could use too much because the formula is pretty thick with this one. I do that in cooking too. I'm like, oh, 2 bulbs of garlic? Oh, let me just add 10. That's why I'm so healthy. The original e.l.f. Putty Primer, this comment comes from Crystal Cooper. She said she did not like it on her face, but when she used it underneath her eyeshadow primer, she was amazed at how smooth her eyeshadow looked. I don't have this product. I went to the store to get all these products this morning, and went to like 10 different stores, I might add. Very hard to find things, and this was on my list, but then I was like, oh, I have it at home, I'm not gonna get it. I don't like this product either, Crystal. I really don't. I threw it out. I know I threw it out because I just did a declutter, and the one that I have left is actually the Acne Fighting Putty Primer, but I don't know how I feel about applying this on my eyes. So I'm going to mention this to anyone else who does not like the e.l.f. Putty Primer. If you're looking for a new way to use it, try it like that. Crystal said it worked really well for her, and I could see that being an excellent way to use it. And if I ever get it again, I'm going to try that. When I had asked for your feedback on which products you hated but now love, there were only really 3 eyeshadow recommendations, and sadly, I couldn't get any of them. In light of all of that, I'm going to do a very simple, basic, neutral eye. I'm using the e.l.f. I Love You a Latte palette. I'm taking this shade right here, and I'm only going to apply this all over the lid, and we're going to do like a very soft, easy, this is one of my most favorite looks for every day. Lashes I'm wearing will be listed for you below. From Julia's Beauty, she had mentioned that the product she hated when she first got it was the e.l.f. Essential Instant Lift Brow Pencil. She said she could not understand why people loved it, but then after 3 years of it sitting in her stash, she started to enjoy it. My only complaint with it is I wish that you could sharpen it. It tends to dull on the edges, which makes it a little hard to apply into the brows, so I could understand why that could be frustrating for some people. But one thing that I have found that helps me to attempt to sharpen it so that I do get a little bit of sharper lines in my brows is I will take the tip that's here and I will rub it on a paper towel several times on the edges until the point starts to sharpen, and that does help to create a sharper line for me. So there you can see, just by rubbing it on the paper towel a few times, it does help to give it a pointed tip. What I like about this formula is that it's easy to blend. It's a really creamy formula, so when you apply it, if you make a mistake, it's not hard to correct it. This next comment was one I had to mention because it was like, yes! From D8709, she says, I don't know if it counts, but I hated the Beauty Blender the first time I used it, and now I'm obsessed. I agree with you 100%. I mean, in fact, I've been on YouTube so long, you could probably go back in my videos and find when I first started using the Beauty Blender how much I hated it. Like you. Now I'm obsessed with it. I don't think I have the original Beauty Blender anymore because there have been so many copycat sponges that have come out that are just as good. So I'm using one from Rimmel today, but yeah, same idea. I just had to mention that. From Janet Zernecki, the Milani Cover and Conceal Foundation. She said at first she thought it was so thick and pasty, but now she loves it, and she says it's better than its foundation. Shade that I'm using today is Porcelain for reference. I believe I don't like this one either, if we're being frank. It wasn't in my collection. I had to go out and buy it, and I believe I didn't like it for the same reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use a very small amount of it, because I remember how thick this one is. You're just gonna try to, was it full coverage? I can't remember. Had to be medium to full coverage. Maybe with the addition of a damp sponge, it will make it blend in better. My backup is to mix in a moisturizer with it. That's typically what I will do if a foundation is a little too thick. But this is going on pretty well. And I think it's because I didn't apply too much of it today. User error has usually been why I haven't liked makeup in the past. I mean, obviously we have those that have just bad formulas and there's nothing you can do about them, but with this one it could have just been me, because that's beautiful and I like it. And wow, it wasn't like my memory told me don't buy that, but I'm glad I retried this. Thank you, Janet. I have two sides of my face, so I'm going to apply a different foundation on this side. This comes from Smack 6030. I absolutely hated the Catrice 24-Hour HD foundation, and she happened to pick it up, but couldn't get over the gorgeous complexion that it gave her. And then she had her daughter try it, and she can always tell when she wears it because it's flawless on her too. We're gonna blend this in. I believe this one is also full coverage, isn't it? Medium to high coverage. It does contain hyaluronic acid, so it's got a moisturizing effect on the skin. And let's see here. I am going to be including this in my Battle of Drugstore Foundations video that I'm going to be working on very soon here. Okay, I'm just blending. I'm going to keep blending. Just like Nemo, you know, keep swimming, keep swimming. A little bit more effort on this side, but it's really pretty on the skin. And it does give a flawless complexion. There were several of you who had mentioned the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Concealer as being a product that you hated, but now you love it. And I believe someone had mentioned it was because they applied too much of it. And I could see that because it is one of those that's like the foundation, the Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. If you apply too much, it looks really but if you're careful to apply a small amount, it's really beautiful on the skin. And that is absolutely true with the concealer too. High coverage, full coverage with this one, and it looks great from beginning to end. It's one of those that will last all day. Isn't that pretty? Coverage is beautiful. You can't even tell I had 5 hours of sleep last night. From, I believe this is Azax, that's how I'm going to say it. She had mentioned the Essence Brighten Up Powder. Love this stuff. I have heard from some people they either love this one or hate it. But there's really no in between with it. I like it because of how it blurs the skin, and I was a little cautious when I heard banana powder. I don't know if you were talking about the banana powder one, but that's the one that I'm using and the one that I like. But this, it doesn't look yellow. I was afraid it's going to look too yellow, but thankfully it doesn't have that problem. Cake Eater, ooh, I like your name, had mentioned the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Didn't like it several years ago, had a disappointing experience with it, but now she's hit pan on 2 repurchases, and she thinks she was in her more is more phase when she first started using it, which I've been there. I think when we all get into makeup, we just think, oh, more is better, and then we realize, no. So I'm pulling mine from the Dream Team palette, which is this one right here. This is one that requires a little bit of a lighter hand because, like she said, it can be a little intense if you're applying too much. And I find that a fan brush really helps with that too. This, by the way, I get asked about this brush all the time. This is from Eve Pearl. It's the fan highlighter brush. It is amazing. And ever since I discovered this brush years ago, it's been my go-to method for applying blush, bronzer. It always stops me from applying too much. Rachel Ann also had a bronzer that she really didn't like, and I've never used this one before, so this will be my first time. And that's the L'Oreal Lumi Bronze It. She said that it's her favorite bronzer right now, but at first she didn't like the luminous effect that it gave her skin. But she said with mature skin, you have to watch where you place it. I understand where you're coming from too. I had a little bit of a thing with bronzers that had too much highlighter in them for a while. I didn't like that look, but it's starting to grow on me more and more. And when I started using them as blush, like you said with the placement, I started to like them a little bit more. I can see, ooh, this is pretty actually. Great recommend. You know what? They actually look pretty similar. I don't have to worry about looking like I'm wearing two bronzers. That looks good. Elizabeth Ruggiero. I butchered that. I'm so sorry. She had mentioned the Wet n Wild Peach Bum Stick Blush. She hated it, but now it's a staple. I love it. I've always loved it. It's one that I've used it for years, and I'm so glad it's still available, but it looks beautiful on the skin. It's one that I compared with the NARS Orgasm blush. It is a dupe for that one, by the way, so if you're looking for something that's a little more affordable, this is right up your alley. And it's got a built-in highlighter. It's a cream formula. It is one of the best, still one of my favorites. So I'm glad that you mentioned this. And I do find that applying it with my finger is better than any other method. It's gorgeous. Melissa and Jessica had mentioned the Milani tubing mascara as one that they hated, but now they love it. Now I'm going to apply this on my lower lashes, but I will tell you, this is one that I'm not too fond of myself. Really, I'm not. I threw mine out. I don't really care for it on my upper lashes because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't hold a curl for me. It's one that when I did use it, I had to layer it with a waterproof formula in order to make it look good. It just was not my favorite. Now, as far as how long it lasts and how it wears, it's really good for that. No complaints there. And it doesn't smudge and it won't flake. And it comes off real nicely too. So if you can get it to work, the formula is pretty good. I allowed the mascara to dry and I'm going back with a Q-tip and going over it to blend it away. Letha Brooks had mentioned the CoverGirl lipsticks back in the day, which I agree with you. They were terrible, weren't they? A lot of CoverGirl makeup products were really bad years ago. And then they came out with the CG Exhibitionist Creme lipsticks, and now it's one that she uses all the time, specifically shade 480 Pink Sherbet Cream. And so that's the one that I picked up to try out here today. And I'm amazed really with how far CoverGirl has come, because a lot of their stuff, I wouldn't touch their stuff with a 10-foot pole for a while, because it was like, this is just, it was bad quality all the way around. But I do love these lipsticks. I agree with you. It's a great formula. And this is a really pretty color, by the way. They feel like lip balm, don't they? It's like a lip balm with a lipstick. They're not drying. They're so comfortable to wear. And while I was going through the comments on that old video to put all this together for this video today, I came across this one from Hannah Laney, and I love your idea. She said we should do an everyone loves this makeup product except for me video, and she has a long list. I love this idea. Is there a makeup product that has gone viral that you feel like everyone in the world loves, but you don't? Let me know below. We'll do a whole video on that because I think that could be a fun one too. So thank you, Hannah, for that amazing idea. I hope that you have a beautifully blessed weekend ahead. If you're interested in anything I used here today, everything will be listed for you below in the description box. I speak love, peace, and joy into you and into your home, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.